Twin sisters dumped in the trash by their parents. Currently found by a drunken male college student passing by. When the baby opens his eyes, she called him daddy, scared him straight out of his wits. And what he did not know was that two baby girls are goddesses, god and demon reincarnated and left on earth. At this time, the crowd on the sideline was talking. Young people today are so irresponsible. After playing, they don't care about anything. The police also arrived quickly at the scene. After receiving the alarm from the public, then they had to take Chinlan back to the police station to educate her. Although Chinlan desperately tried to explain that he was single all the time, still a male virgin. How can there be children? But the scene is hard to tell. The police still took Chinlan back to police station to assist in the investigation. Chinlan looked at such a cute child in his arm, also could not help but be filled with joy. In a short time, the director came out to Chinlan with the result of the survey. After our investigation, it is true that you have no relationship with the two children. They will send to the orphanage later. Chinlan's face was full of shock after hearing this. What did you say? The orphanage? The doll in his arm seemed to have understood the meaning of this sentence. The next second, she cried out. The director thought the two child might be hungry. Then he contacted a policewoman to hurry over to help. And the policewoman just entered the room. The chief then pointed to the child and told her to see what was going on. The moment the policewoman picked up the child, she saw the problem. She turned around and slowly took off her clothes and blushed and let the two out. Suddenly the director slapped Chinlan on the head. What are you looking at? Get out of here. Breastfeeding. This section is easy to cause discomfort. I will help everyone to see. 10 minutes later, the policewoman came out with the child in his arm. The two children really did not cry and did not make a fuss, but even so, they had to be sent to an orphanage. In a short time, the two arrived at their destination. They were greeted by an old director of the orphanage. Chinlan reluctantly handed over the child to her. Suddenly, the two children began to cry loudly again. Chinlan looked back as he walks. He is still not sure about the two children, and the policewoman pulled Chinlan's sleeve and said, "Let's go. You are still a student and can't afford to feed them both. Listen to the end." The child stopped crying as if by induction, and just as he was about to get in the car and leave, he eventually ran back and took the baby from the dean. "From today on, I am your father." The two children burst out laughing again, and the policewoman looked at Chinlan back and could not help but smile. "Fool, you are going to have your hand full from now." 5 years have passed. Youngest child, Chenji, is naughty, calling her father to wake up. She saw Chinlan sneezing instantly, so she covered her stomach and laughed out, and Chinlan just picked up her daughter and looked at her. Then he took her little daughter and walked out of the room. At this point, Chinyan, the eldest daughter, was holding the phone in a good manner and said, "Daddy, there is a call for you. It looks like something urgent has happened." After answering the phone, he went out in a hurry and told the two to behave at home and closed the door with a bang. The two naughty daughters saw their father leaving in such a hurry. The next second, they followed curiously, and halfway there an old woman stopped the way. The old woman smiled and said she would help them find their father together and kindly bought them a bunch of snacks. But when she paid for it, she stared at the two girls with a vengeance. "Damn, I can't believe I bought so much. I must sell you for a good price." Two little cuties walking and eating all the way, but the trafficker behind them was already panting from exhaustion. And then she said to the two little child, "Why don't we stop looking for daddy for now? I will take you to fun place, okay?" However, the clever Chinyan had already seen the sign. "Granny, take it easy. Turn the corner ahead and I will follow you." When the granny looked around the corner, directly stunned, in front of her is actually the trafficker most afraid of the Public Security Bureau. Instantly, the two daughters rushed directly to the police station. Clover said, "Godmother, the old lady is trying to abduct us." After saying that, Chinyan also looked at each other with a bad smile on his face. The old woman knew that thing had fallen apart and was ready to run away, but she was easily catched by the policewoman. After some serious criticism of the daughters for such dangerous behavior, she then dropped them to the door of Chinlan's company. "Godmother is going to catch the bad guys. Go up and find your father yourself." Other side, Chinlan is being scolded by the female CEO. "What the hell are you doing? Because of the bug you wrote by mistake, a lot of offending content is now posted on the website. The company is going out of business." And Chinlan still can't believe it. "I checked the packet a few times. It's impossible to make such a low-level mistake." The man with the glass on the side also kept saying, Mr. Lee, I suggest that this kind of garbage employee is directly fired. The CEO said after a long sign, Chinlan, you go to the finance office. But without waiting for him to finish, and the two daughters walked right in. Auntie, are you going to fire daddy? We are going to starve without daddy's job. The president held the two child in his arm with a heartfelt look. Don't worry, I will not fire your father. And then she said seriously to Chinlan, you have one day to fix all the bugs. We can still work together. The man with the glasses want to say something else, but was rebuked by Mr. Lee. The man with the glass then dials Moo's number, but their plans were all overheard by the youngest daughter. Damn, this is the bad guy who set up Dad. In the next second, she ran toward the bad guy in the street and slammed into his thigh. The man's phone fell out to the ground immediately afterwards. Chinli picked up the phone and apologized to the man with glasses. The man smiled and don't care too much about it, unaware that the person he was talking to had already been replaced by his boss. He then reported their plans to the other side. Young Master Moo, don't worry, I will personally deliver Lizzie to your bed. Just give me a sip of soup when the times come. And the beautiful president on the other end of the phone had already turned blue. The girl just shouted cheer in front of her father, and the body of Chinlan emitted a burst of golden light. At once he was like a stimulant. Turned to the computer, a pounding. All the bugs in the company were fixed in an instant. After everything was fixed, Chinlan, left hand holding Chinyan, right hand holding Chinji, and went to the house. But the little daughter's mouth pouted. Why did you hug Chinji and not me? Chinlan knew that her little daughter was already angry, so he also took her in his arm and said, is that alright? Such an understanding father. Chinji kissed him on the cheek with satisfaction, and the three just arrived home and found the woman lying on the sofa. It turned out to be Lin Jinran, the policewoman who catch the thief during the day. Jinran wake up. When she heard the movement, she got up and said, you are back? I will go cook for you right away. But Chinlan turned around and looked at the clock. It was already too late. So he took the people and they came to a very nice restaurant. And just after arriving here, they then found several men beating a young girl. The redhead grabbed the woman by their hair and said, sleep with us tonight. Let's forget about it. Chinlan was shocked when he heard the words. The woman in front of him was none other than his boss, and then he just bellowed, stop it. But the redhead just treated him like air. He went straight to the more beautiful Lee Jinran. Good luck today, mate. Another great beauty. Yo, it's a policewoman. I like uniform seduction. Before he done, Lee Jinran kicked up directly with a severing kick. The red hair covered his crotch and felt very sure. Then the redhead yelled at his man, catch this bitch, there is a big reward. And Lin Jinran was not afraid at all. First, she kicked a man with a high kick, found a sneak attack from behind with a backhanded takedown. He was pinned to the ground and dropped. The minions fled in a disagree when they saw that they were completely defeated, so everyone could finally have a good meal. Chinlan saw that the CEO was drinking wine and said, Lee, did something big happen? The female boss said in dismay, the company is finished and so am I. All thought you have fixed the bug during the day, but there are too many violations and they have been reported. I am a little tired. I can go home and rest for a couple days if the company closes. She stormed out of the restaurant. Looking at her, the two young daughters have said, Dad, just help her out. And Chinlan said with a faint smile, don't worry, I have a bold idea. Just in time to bring her into the fold. People walking home after dinner, blocked by a group of gangsters with sticks. We want to leave after beating up my Q-Snake gang. While several people were fighting, Redhead took a stick and smashed it directly into the head of the two young daughters. This drunken man found twin sister in the garbage. From then on, life began to change dramatically. Not only was he a full-time daddy for 5 years, he also found a policewoman as godmother for his two daughters. And Chinlan had just taken a few people home for dinner and was blocked by a gang of Q-Snake gangsters to protect her daughter from bullying, protecting them with their own body to the death. As he was being beaten to death, a golden mysterious formation suddenly appeared under the feet of the three men. The Chinlan rise up into the air. In the next second, a pair of light blue feathers grew out of his back. It turned out that he had triggered the immortal emperor bloodline in his body when he was on the verge of death. And this scene is not only scared the group of monks out of their wits, but also the other forces sense the aura. The reincarnation of the god of medicine, Su Jingping, blood moon of the evil organization, Idol Immortal Cultivation Sect Kunlun. They all want to take possession of the god devil's baby for themselves. And Chinlan knows nothing about this at this moment. The few moments later, the wound on the Chinlan back was rapidly healing. The light blue feather also slowly slowly turned purple. At this time, Chinlan's eyes were listless as he let out a roar of rage, and then he rushed directly to the group of punks, grabbed the redhead, and was ready to kill him. Li Jinren saw this and hugged Chinlan and advised him to calm down. But Chinlan, who had lost his mind, flung his being directly. In an instant, he shocked Li Jinren and his two daughters out of the air. And then he opened his wings and started to slaughter the other punks. As he was about to deliver a fatal blow to the redhead, the small sword in front of his chest absorbed the energy in time. The feathers on the back also slowly disappeared, and then he fell to the ground with the hood. At the moment, the police colleagues arrived in the time with the ambulance. After taking Chinlan and her two daughters to the hospital, only then did Lin Jinren finally breathe a sign of relief. The body that was supported by Bill almost fell down. The director said, "Go home and rest." But Jinren said, "I have to wait until Chinlan and the other are out of danger." On the other hand, the doctor in the operation room were doing their best to save Chinlan when the door was suddenly opened. Su Qingqing said to everyone, "You all go out. These patients are all mine. I am responsible for any problem." Su Qingqing looked at the father and the daughter laying on the hospital bed. Then a small sensor with golden light came out of her mouth. After hovering in mid-air for a while, the little tripod turns into a super tripod. The three of them were frantically absorbing the power of gods and demons in their body. But in less than a minute, the little tripod stopped. It turned out that the power of the gods and demons was too dominant. Even the Sennong can only observe part of the energy. But without waiting for her to think more, a formation appeared among the three Chinlan. The Sennong began to absorb the power of the gods and demons again. Seeing this, Su Qingqing was amazed because this formation is a legendary god and demon Wuji formation. And then she took out a number of talismans to hold down the Sennong, and this energy was too large. She was instantly shaken out of the way by the top of Sennong. Su Qingping wiped out the blood from the corner of her mouth and said, "I did not expect the three of them to be so deeply bound. I can't believe that it automatically triggered the god and demon Wuji formation. Looks like we have to get them to practice as soon as possible." But what she did not know was the two baby girls are the reincarnation of the divine demon saint, and all the force in order to get god demon baby are all eager to move. At this time, Chinlan had just woken up from her hospital bed. Qingping said she would teach three people to cultivate immortality, and as a youth of 21st century simply does not believe in such things. The two young daughters who knew how to behave began to out when they saw that their dad was okay. Chinlan happily picked up her daughters and planned to go straight home and said to Qing behind her, "I am sorry, Dr. Shu. I am not interested in what you said about cultivating immortality. I just want to live a normal life with my two baby girls." And then he left without looking back. But before Chinlan could take two more steps, a scarlet formation suddenly appeared under his feet. The next second, the crowd was sucked directly into another world. When Chinlan got up in a hurry to ask the two daughters about their situation, Qing instantly rose up in the air and she looked around vigilantly. So it was the Blood Moon organization. In order to get the divine demon baby, the most evil two men, elders were sent to do this personally. They are in the place where he carefully arranged the formation, Moro blood pressure. Chinlan looked at the river of blood and the mountain of bones in front of him, almost hit. Luckily, Jing used the Sennong to block the crop's attack in time, and Chinlan escaped. While the two daughters on the other side began to laugh at two men. The old man's eyes are so red and his ears are so big. He is really ugly. This really pissed off two men. He scolded the two little girls to shut up. Then he raised the scepter in his hand and began to cast a spell. The evil spell quickly spread to the slaves he had imprisoned here. In the next second, the slave began to maniacally. Not only did it easily shatter the shield of Sennong, but also caused pain to both daughters who heard the sound. And Qing just grunted coldly. Then he closed his eyes and quickly choked his hand directly towards the Sennong in the air. The Sennong then gushed out a large number of water droplets. When the water droplet just fell to the ground, the earth, which had been dead, began to take on a new life. And all this, not only did the three children recover, but also the slaves who had been maniac. Two men could not help but laugh coldly after seeing his spell being broken. Spring breeze, 10 miles of almond trees into the forest. Mishu is really good, but I am afraid that with your cultivation of the Yuning realm, you will not be able to support this field for long. Cut the crap, use all the trick you have. After hearing this, the old man finally intended to use his true strength. He opened his mouth wide, a blood-red orb flew out and slowly grew large, and then a naked baby began to reappear. Ching saw this and tweeted coldly, "The firstborn leaves the house. The god traveled beyond the sky." This old man has already broken through to the godly journey realm. If you want part 2, destroy the like button and subscribe for more.